In this video, I'll give you all the top tips you need to know before visiting Paris, France. Guys, there are several unforeseen events that people experience the first time around, which we've already experienced, and many important tips that will make a difference to your trip. From where to stay, when to go, the unforeseen events you might have there, safety, security, is it really very safe, what's it like, they say there are some thefts, some things to worry about, where to stay, where to buy tickets, how to avoid the huge queues for the attractions. So there are several tips that will make a difference, guys. So don't forget to give us a like in the video because that really helps us a lot. Subscribe to the channel and buckle up. Hey guys, for those who don't know me, I'm Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the Grupo Dicas, the largest travel content network in the world, and today we're going to talk about Paris. It's a very important video. What did we do, guys? We have more than 20 videos here on the channel about Paris and France, but we've decided to put together the main essential tips, those tips that people shouldn't miss before traveling there to avoid any unforeseen circumstances. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I think is the main thing, guys, is the season. People sometimes think that Paris is a delight at any time of the year. No, there are some downsides. We've been in winter and it's very cold. You'll be able to enjoy the European winter. You put on a scarf, you feel super stylish, but it's very cold. We froze on the street and our noses, even though we covered everything, really got in the way of the trip. And why? Paris is a city where you walk a lot, you go for walks, that are open parks, the streets are all open, so you won't be able to enjoy your trip as much in the winter. So here's my tip: if you're going to enjoy the places, don't go in the winter. Avoid the middle of November to February. From March onwards, it starts to get warmer and better. This also applies to the summer, the European summer, which is July and August. For those of you who don't know, Europe is full. Europeans themselves travel to the city, and this year, Rome and Paris achieved historic visitor records. So the main museums are packed, as are the parks and attractions, and everything is much more expensive. So if you get away from July and August and those winter months, which are the end of the year, you will have a much better experience for sure, guys. You can do a lot of things. Another important tip for Paris, which many people have unforeseen events, are the attractions that require a ticket. For example, the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Museum, which are the two main tourist attractions and must be visited. You can buy the ticket in advance online. What are the advantages? It's cheaper and you don't have to queue at the entrance. When we went, we bought our tickets online because we had heard this tip. When we arrived at the Eiffel Tower, you had no idea how long the queue was to buy a ticket at the ticket office. We walked past the queue. I'm not kidding. We walked for 2 minutes next to the queue of people who were going to buy on the spot. If you've left it too late to buy a ticket, it might sell out. There were people who couldn't make it and had to buy for the next day. So buy online beforehand, you will pay less and you will save a lot of time. When you go to the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, watch, you will see it's a huge queue. You'll enter through another one for those who already have a ticket. If you want to buy a ticket, here's a great tip for you guys. It's a website we use. I'll leave it here in the video description just for you. We bought all our tickets, tours and excursions in Europe there, which is the biggest ticket website in Europe if I'm not mistaken. The prices are always the best and only good companies are registered. There are tours to nearby towns and excursions, the Disney ticket, Disneyland Paris. For those of you who don't know, there's a very nice Disneyland in Paris, which is 2 parks. It's an hour from Paris, so if you want to go there, it's worth it. It's very cool. There's a ticket there, there's the Eiffel Tower ticket, there's the Louvre Museum, there is the Seine River boat trip. Try to buy everything beforehand because it's cheaper and you won't have to queue. On this website, you can pay in your own currency, which is great because you won't pay 6% IOF making international transactions when you buy from a website that sells in euros using your credit card. So it saves a lot of money and time. So always buy the tickets for the attractions beforehand online. Another very important tip, guys, is where to stay in Paris. There are cities that are smaller, it's much easier. You go there and put in historic center, get the location there near the sites, and that's it. Paris, people, is very big. The tourist attractions are somewhat spread out, so some people end up taking a hotel that's too far away. Sometimes people look at the map and conclude, it's very close to the Eiffel Tower. You end up in a bad location and it's a hassle. You have to spend a lot of time and it's not cheap there, guys. Uber, cabs to the tourist attractions. There's the metro you can manage. So the main tip of all is get a well-located hotel. You'll be able to do half of the tours on foot, walking, strolling, and whatever is a little further away, take the metro or an Uber or a cab, then you can enjoy everything much more easily. Gabriel, but which region is it? Come on guys, a map of Paris. I'm going to show you the map divided into arrondissements. There are several regions that are divided from 1 to 20. The smaller the number, the more centralized it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in theory are the most centralized in my opinion. In our experience of the times we've been, the best of all is to stay at the one closest to the river. I'm going to show you a personalized map that we made. It's very nice. Whichever area you stay in, you'll already be well located. If you have a metro station nearby, being a location within this area is already an excellent location. The closer you can get to the river scene, the better, because you'll be strolling along the river scene and the main tourist attractions are concentrated between the other arrondissements too, from 1 to 4. So try to stay in this area. It's a very nice area. This personalized map, I'll leave it here in the video description for you and in the first fixed comment as well. Enter it. We created within a hotel search engine, which is the biggest search engine in the world. I'm sure you know it too. That's where we make our reservations. It has the best prices and a very good strategy that I'm going to explain to you. Clicking on this map will open it, close it, and enter the date of your trip in the search engine. Set it to search and then open the map again. It will open the same map with the hotels on the date of your trip with the prices for you to search. Any hotel you get around the area is fine. I'll also mention the hotel we stayed in, which is very good. They were 7-8 blocks from the Eiffel Tower. We managed to go there for 3 days in the evening. There was nothing to do at the end of the day. Let's go for a walk around the Eiffel Tower, close to almost everything. I thought the hotel was very good, and I'll leave the link below to see as well, so you can jump to your own conclusions and see whichever option is best for you and for your trip. And now the tip we use, the strategy for always getting cheaper hotels. Advance notice is key. All hotels in the world work like this. As the rooms sell out, the price automatically goes up. It's a tourism system that practically everyone already know. So if you go in and see a nice hotel at a good price, booking your hotel will be much cheaper than waiting a month or two, so do it now. And why? Because this website has a very good free cancellation deal with almost all the hotels. So you've checked in, you booked, it's been a while and you want to cancel, you want to change hotels today, rooms, or just cancel the trip. It's one click, no bureaucracy, you don't spend anything. So this is a tactic we use that saves a lot of money, because the sooner you book, the cheaper you pay. Check it out here and try to find some nice hotels. If you want to know the hotel we stayed in and loved, I'll leave it too. It's a very beautiful hotel. It's an incredible 5-star, but in Bordeaux it's not as expensive as in other places, so you can stay in a 5-star hotel for a good price. We got a very good deal. I don't know if it was the season, check it out. It's close to everything. It's an iconic hotel. Try to see how much it is on your date. If it's too expensive, you can use the map to see others nearby with much more affordable prices, but this is one that we stayed in and we totally recommend you to stay. And now, before we get into the what to do, all the tours, wineries, wine tasting, the most incredible museum I've ever seen, I'm going to talk briefly, guys, about 3 very important tips for any place in Europe you visit, which is travel insurance. Don't forget that it's mandatory for Europe. To go to any of these destinations, you must have travel insurance that covers at least 30,000 euros in medical assistance. So get one. It's cheap, guys. There are places that are very cheap and they have good insurance. I'll leave it down here in the description as well. Here in the description I'll leave a link to a page where we're organizing all the links. By keeping them up to date, many links already have discounts included, so use this page, click because you'll be able to organize everything, and we've managed to organize everything so that you can plan your trip there. And there is this travel insurance comparator. It's an incredible tool that compares insurance with all the main insurance on the market and finds incredible prices at half the price. If you go directly to a travel agency, ask someone for a quote, it's the same insurance. They're fantastic companies. Check it out because it's very good. It saves you a lot. And in the same vein, the chip. If you want to travel abroad, you need a SIM card to use your cell phone during your trip. We highly recommend international prepaid SIM cards, which is the easiest and most practical way to use your cell phone there. I'll leave below the one we use for the whole of Europe and the whole world. In fact, the signal is excellent. They delivered it to us at home. The new cell phones now have a virtual signal. It's eSIM. You register by email, you make the purchase on their website by email, they send you the QR code. All you have to do is register it on your cell phone and you have a prepaid SIM card installed so you can get there and use the internet at will. So it's very good for locating yourself and doing everything there. Another important tip, how many days to stay in Paris? Guys, try to stay at least 3 days. When I say at least 3 days, it's so you can at least see the main places, but I think the ideal is 6 because there's so much to see. There are towns a little further away that are worth visiting. For example, Versailles, guys, it's a beautiful place. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. The Palace of Versailles, which is the city of Versailles, is close to Paris, less than an hour away, but you need to take a day for it. On this ticket website that I've left here for you, you can find the tour, which is very good. They pick you up at your hotel, take you there, do the whole tour with a guide explaining everything about the Palace of Versailles, which is an incredible place, and return to your hotel. That's all there is to it. If you're with children or even without children and you like Disney, take a day to visit the 2 Disney parks. It's really worth it. You go early and come back at the end of the day. You can really enjoy yourself there. So that's 2 days, and the remaining 4 days are for you to go to the sites. The Louvre Museum, guys, make no mistake, we booked the first time we went. We didn't know how big it was. We booked for 2 or 3 hours because we were a bit short on time. When we got there, it takes half an hour, so just to get in, guys, because it's so big. It's not because of the queue, because you will already have your ticket, but it's very long, and until you get through everything and get in, you'll be taking photos outside. It's very big in there. I can't even explain the size. It's absurd. You'd have to spend 2 whole days there to see all the works, so split up the days and try to take them off. I know that sometimes we want to visit every city in Europe on the same trip, but try to set aside a few days because there is so much to see in Paris. A lot of amazing things. And now let's talk about transportation, guys, how to get around Paris. It's very pleasant on foot to walk. Sometimes you don't even notice because there are so many tourist attractions, but there are places that are far away. So in my opinion, if you stay in a good location, you need Uber once in a while. Uber is cheaper than cab, so focus on Uber, and Uber doesn't have the language issue. And why in the cab, when you get in, there are cab drivers there who don't speak English, Portuguese, Spanish, or any other language. You tell them where you're going, sometimes they don't understand, they take you to the wrong place. Uber at least lets you type in your destination, entering, and everything is fine. You don't even need to have a conversation, so it's a nice tip. Now, Uber isn't the cheapest way. Gabriel, what's the cheapest way to get around? Public transportation. The metro in Paris works very well. There are subways everywhere. At the entrance, you buy a ticket at the machine and you can walk around the main tourist attractions. What I'm saying is very realistic and honest. The Paris metro used to be one way. Now it's a bit different, similar to New York. It's not that well looked after. Sometimes you can see a rat or 2 in there. We did when we went to the other time. There are a lot of immigrants entering France and they are all going to the tourist area of Paris because they stand there asking for money, trying to sell things to tourists. So the tourist areas, especially in the metro, you will see that there are a lot of people there trying to sell things. It's a bit crowded. It's not as nice as a place as it used to be, as it is in some other cities. So sometimes the savings of 3 euros, 4 euros, I think it's worth taking an Uber to avoid all that stress. If you want to save money, you can use it. Okay, guys, I'm not saying you can't. We used it a few times, but it's not as people imagine. It's just to get everyone's expectations in line, because sometimes we expect something beautiful, something very nice, and it's not like that. And since I'm in the subject of the metro, guys, the pickpockets, if you're already familiar with TikTok, that girl in Italy, especially in Venice, who shouts, pickpocket, pickpocket. Pickpockets are common in Europe. Unfortunately, Paris, like the other cities, Rome too, are safe cities. You hardly see anyone mugging people, putting a gun on them, stopping them, assaulting, but there are pickpockets. All the tourist areas have them, and in the metro, as there are so many people, it's very crowded, which is where we saw and heard the most reports. So wherever you are in Paris and around the world, people, be careful. Wallet and passport in the zippered bag. Don't leave the bag open, bag in front. What we're already used to, more or less, in our daily lives. You always have to be careful because unfortunately it can happen that someone takes your documents, wallets, passports. That's going to be a big headache for you to deal with on your trip. So it's always nice to stay tuned, to stay alert, to avoid this kind of pickpocketing that's very common. The shopping tip: Paris has lots of stores for you to buy from. The Champs-Élysées is the most famous. It's beautiful to walk around because the stores are expensive. Even stores that aren't expensive, such as Nike, tend to have higher prices. Then look for the department stores that are 2 or 3 big ones around in Paris, as well as the high street stores. You'll find plenty. There are lots of stores, and for those who like perfumes, there's an extra tip. If you want to buy perfume, there is a very good store. I'll give its location here in the description, but it's in the tourist center of Paris. It's a store that sells all the perfumes, and we've made a very good partnership with them because a lot of people came to them on our recommendation. So anyone who goes there will get an exclusive discount on all the perfumes and receive many gifts. The service in several languages. All you have to do is go into the store, ask for Poliana, and tell her you came from the Grupo Dicas, which is our blog, and they'll be able to give you lots of discounts and gifts. Exclusive service and various payment methods, cards, you can pay installments, something you can't do at any other store. So take a look. If you want to buy perfume there, it's the place to be. Everyone is buying a lot. Send me a picture and show it to me because it's really worth it. I'll explain everything below in the video description. Everything's going to be there for you. Just look it up because there are all the instructions and the store address there for you to visit and enjoy the best perfume in Paris. And speaking of transportation, guys, the airport. Take a good look at which airport you'll be arriving in Paris because it has 3 international airports. The most famous is Charles de Gaulle, which is where the most flights arrive from all over the world. But there are 3, okay? It's already a bit distant and the others are even further away. Just do your research. And a tip: cabs pick you up at the airport just like in any other tourist place in the world. Unfortunately, we've heard a lot of stories about scams, taxi drivers who take longer, go to the wrong place, or charge more than they should. So avoid this problem. You have the option of Uber, which I found a bit confusing there to get the Uber, so you can request it. The airport is very large and there is another option which we think is the best. Today we do this in every city, which is a transfer that you hire beforehand online. When you get there, when you leave the airport with your luggage there, with the things to leave the airport, there's someone with a license plate with your name on it. They already know where you're going. It's going to be paid for. There's no way to harm you. There's nothing you can do. There's no way it can go wrong. You'll be carrying suitcases, so it's a bit of an expecting event at the start of your trip. So take a transfer. You will arrive at your hotel calmly, safe and relaxed, so you can enjoy your trip. I'll leave everything in the video description, guys. The one I mentioned, it's the same site about the tickets. The one that sells the tickets, excursions, tours, Disney, it's all on the website. There are transfers to all the airports in the world. To the tourist center, they have a transfer. It also has transfers to Disney, so if you're thinking about visiting there, you can go there by subway. But if you pay a little more, you can get a nice car to pick you up and get you there. It's always better with a transfer. And down here, guys, I'll give you the link to all the services, everything we use. Use the links, they're always up to date. We've put them on a well-organized page, and there are discounts included with the links. So save this page whenever you book and use the links. There is also the train website, which is the largest train website in Europe, so you can buy trains for all the cities between all the countries. Or for sports, if you want to watch a European game, an English game, a Spanish game that's really cool, or any other sports game, I'll leave the website down here too. It has all the places you need to plan your trip there in the best possible way, and of course saving a lot of money. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel, because that really helps us a lot. And don't miss the other video, which are very good. I'm going to give you some tips on how to travel cheaply to Paris so you can plan your entire trip and save the most on everything. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much and have a nice trip.